Boom! You know, bro, got vibrant, bad like way power and rory. But here what? At the time for the lion, them tell them story. Lion voice. A bro, got vibrant. I said, don't listen to it once, don't listen to it twice. Subscribe, like, and share. You hear? Boom! Cause just because I hear them. Cause them a fast and pray just to see we fail. Lion voice. Boom, got vibrant rep.
Number two is communication, and communication is going to be related to experience. The more experience you have, the better you're able to communicate, you're able to negotiate, and the booking agent should be negotiating in the interest of the artist. And this is why I say it's important to have an entertainment attorney on your team, because once you have that pillar on your team, the contracts that the booking agent is bringing you for the promoter, for the venue, should be reviewed by your attorney. So this is the checks and balances, even though the booking agent is looking out for your interests. And I forgot to say that typically a booking agent is taking 10% in terms of the revenue for each show of the gross as their remuneration. So it's in their best interest to negotiate the highest rate for the artist, because their fee is going to be contingent on whatever the artist is paid. So they're supposed to be on your side, and they need to negotiate with the venues and the promoters to make sure the deals are fair, but they also have to make sure that they are satisfying the venue and the owner, because this is not I'm going to you once. They're building a relationship. So
well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man. I'm an entertainment attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I'm the host of the Lion's Voice. And you know, when you see I'm on dressed like this, that it's time for Lion Law. And I just want to big up everyone who has been watching the Lion Law. The numbers have been increasing on the Lion Law videos. It's something that I'm passionate about, providing structure, particularly for the reggae and dancehall industry. An industry that I love, that I'm a part of, and that I aspire to be more active in, however, that has serious structural and legal problems. So what is today's episode about? Today we're going to look at a vital aspect of your team as an independent artist, and that is the booking agent. I was reading Dancehall magazine. I came across an article from some time ago about the artist Nesbeth, a Rastafari artist, or at least dreadlock artist. I'm not sure if the brethren is Rastafari, but a dreadlock artist who was touring, and an incident happened with him in Kenya, and resulted in him terminating his relationship. His management terminated the relationship with this booking agent, and it got me to pondering about the booking agent and saying, you know, all of these things are topics, and that's the beauty of having the Lion Voice network here and having a platform like Lion Law. I don't have to just keep these things to I myself. I can come and reason with the family. And before I get into what I'm going to talk about, 5 essential things to look for in a booking agent, and we'll talk about what a booking agent does. Before I get into that, which is the meat or the veggies of the episode, let me just take the time to big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. And I have to big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. You see the audio sound a little bit better on the recent episodes. That's because of the Lion Pride on Patreon. Their contributions, and you can come in for as little as $5 a month, $10 a month, $25 a month. The month you take that money, buy Starbucks and coffee, or you invest in a Rastafari platform that's building multiple layers of content to keep you informed and to highlight conversations and hear the lions from their own voice, so we don't have to go through no third party. So if you want to invest, please support, join us on Patreon. Also, exclusive Dejazmatch Kwasi music. As I said, I aspire to be more active in the music industry from a creative and artist side. And that's gonna live on Patreon. So if you love the music, at the end of the episodes, a couple of you leave comments, say you love the song sounds good. I've been putting my songs at the end of the episodes. I have a vast catalog of unreleased music. If you love that, you want to hear the full songs, join us on Patreon. We're uploading new music over there all the time. So again, big up all of the Patreon. But let's get forward into the episode that is talking about 5 things to look for in a booking agent. And first, let's just get into the Nesbeth. Let's provide a little bit of background on this Nesbeth situation.
Nesbeth fires booking agent after he was almost stranded in Kenya. A dancehallmag.com article by Claude Mills. The management team of Nesbeth has with immediate effect severed all ties with the reggae artist's contractual booking agent and tour manager, Raymond Shadow Small, in the wake of a disastrous series of events that almost left the My Dream singer stranded in Kenya last weekend. The reggae singer just completed his My Dream Part 2 tour of Europe and Africa, which commenced on January 12 with the first show in Italy and climaxed with the Roots Vibes Festival in Nairobi, Kenya on February 11th. The tour also had stops in Germany as well. The show in Kenya had been highly anticipated and well executed. Negotiations around the show were handled by the tour road manager Raymond Shadow Small, but there were a series of blunders in the negotiations and unreasonable demands by Small, which led to an impasse between the promoter and Small surrounding the travel arrangements back to Jamaica, a press release said. Tickets, which had previously been purchased by the promoter for the artist's return to Jamaica via Europe, were cancelled after Mr. Small, contrary to the position taken by the artiste, complained about the travel route and insisted on a shorter period for return to Jamaica after the show, the release said. However, Small has hit back at Nesbeth's version of events, calling it a very poorly written theatrical satire. Small said that he took a significant personal financial hit because of the disastrous tour, as he used his own credit card to make arrangements for the flights of 3 people, himself, Nesbeth, and, in quote, Nesbeth's low-hanging fruit. The last comment was a reference to Nesbeth's girlfriend, who was also on the tour. Small said that the tour itself was a catastrophic flop and that he wasn't giving Nesbeth no credence, no attention, no time of day. I wish him all the best with his non-existent career, Small said. The show in Kenya was held on February 11th, and 4 days afterward, up to February 15th, Small and the promoter had not been able to arrive at an acceptable agreement regarding travel arrangements for the artiste to return home. It was not until the artiste insisted that the road manager remedy the situation immediately that travel was scheduled for February 16th. Small's level of arrogance and incompetence doesn't mix well with music business, and his amateurish and unprofessional conduct during this tour have conspired to damage the artist's reputation and standing in the international reggae community, Nesbeth's press release said. Eventually, Small and the promoter reached an agreement where the promoter would reimburse Small a percentage of the airline expenses to secure the return flights of Nesbeth and the entourage to Europe and then Jamaica. However, the litany of errors and missteps forced the My Dream Singers management team to cut ties with Small. Mr. Small made decisions that worked against me financially, Nesbitt said. To make matters worse, Small's misrepresentation of his knowledge and experience regarding the payment structure, in parentheses door split, has resulted in financial loss to the artiste. Consequently, we have immediately cut all ties with Mr. Small and are contemplating further remedies, the management team said. Future bookings for Nesbitt will be handled by Trouble Fits Production.
Alright, so you see that there were several things in the Nesbitt article that, raise red flags. There's a little bit of back and forth. We don't want to watch that. But I think to overstand, and what we see is that there's a lot of transient things in the business. I mean, there's a lot of people that come in the business temporarily. There aren't a lot of established booking agents in the reggae and dancehall world. There are a few, and it's becoming extremely difficult to connect because ideally a booking agent is a vital part of your team as an artist, particularly as an independent artist. They are helping you to grow your band, your brand, potentially increase your fan base. And we're going to talk about some of those things when we talk about the characteristics. But a booking agent essentially is someone who is there to arrange your contracts at the venues for festivals and different events and shows. As an independent artist, a lot of times your manager starts out playing the role of a booking agent, or you yourself start out as playing the role of your manager and your booking agent. You're calling venues, you have a brethren who's putting on a show. That's essentially establishing a relationship with a promoter, and ideally that's what a booking agent does. That's all they do. They know promoters, they know venues. They're arranging the contracts between the artist and the promoter, or the artist and the venue, depending. For example, right now in the United States where I am, most of the reggae shows and tours are being routed through Live Nation. So there are only going to be certain booking agents that have that relationship with the Live Nation to route a tour. They own most of the venues, particularly on the East Coast, but generally through the nation. So it's a new game. There was one time where you could go to the Caribbean Social Club, you could go to this and that Tony bar around there, so, and all of these less informal artists from Jamaica are not getting visas like that anymore. And I'll have one of my sister who deals with visas. I have a couple of people to talk about the visa issue as we go down the line. Here on Lion Law, we'll talk about that, and we'll get some different perspectives as to the reality. But we're in bad shape in America in terms of reggae and dancehall, and particularly bringing artists from Jamaica. But we'll get into all of that because, again, my superpower is the network. We have people who can address all of these things, and we're going to explore some of these things here on the Lion Law. But essentially, again, your booking agent is someone who is dealing with the contracts between the promoter and the venue. They are the ones who are familiar with the tour routes, all of these things. So let's look at 5 things to look for in a booking agent. And I look at this from the lens of, let's look at the challenges we had in America with an eye to improve these things as we move into Africa, because Africa is the goal. 54 countries, multiple cities in each country. It's a tour dream, but it can also be a tour nightmare if you're not familiar. And this is now where we have to develop booking agents that we can work with, train them, and be strategic in terms of how we deploy into the African continent. So number one thing to look for in a booking agent is experience. What are their track record? And what types of artists do they work with? You have booking agents that work with different genres. I want to big up people like Roy McPherson here, who for a long time was doing booking with a lot of the 12 Tribe of Israel artists. And I'll interview Brother Roy on this platform, and we'll get into that probably on Lion Talk, but we'll have some of it that will overlap that we can look at on Lion Law as well. But we have to give thanks for these ones who did it. But you want to look for a booking agent who has the experience. This is not something you want someone learning on the job. And if we look at the Nesbitt situation, it appears that the booking agent didn't have a vast well of experience and did not, have an understanding of how things work when you look at, splitting the door and tickets being contingent and different things happening. It sounds like they could have benefited from someone with more established contacts, more experience in terms of routing a tour and taking care of those arrangements on behalf of the artist. So experience is crucial. Number 2 is communication, and communication is going to be related to experience. The more experience you have, the better you're able to communicate, you're able to negotiate, and the booking agent should be negotiating in the interest of the artist. And this is why I say it's important to have an entertainment attorney on your team, because once you have that pillar on your team, the contracts that the booking agent is bringing you for the promoter, for the venue, should be reviewed by your attorney. So this is the checks and balances, even though the booking agent is looking out for your interests. And I forgot to say that typically a booking agent is taking 10% in terms of the revenue for each show of the gross as their remuneration. So it's in their best interest to negotiate the highest rate for the artist, because their fee is going to be contingent on whatever the artist is paid. So they're supposed to be on your side, and they need to negotiate with the venues and the promoters to make sure the deals are fair, but they also have to make sure that they are satisfying the venue and the owner, because this is not I'm going to you once. They're building a relationship. So the venues are often connecting with the booking agent when they want certain, they have an idea for a show, because the booking agent has a relationship with different artists. And so everybody, ideally you want to have a win-win scenario when you're dealing with this. But the booking agent also needs to keep you updated on what's happening, so that you and your management team can plan accordingly and can support the booking agent, because the bigger your brand, the more they're going to be able to ask for. So you want to time some of your marketing and promotion from your internal team with what the booking agent, so when he's negotiating with the venue, when he's negotiating with, or he or she negotiating with the promoter, they can show activity of why you should be getting this higher rate. So negotiation, communication, crucial to look for in a booking agent. Number 3 is the network. Who does the booking agent know to be able to route these tours, to make sure that you don't have a lot of layover time in between dates? So the more venues that they know, they can route the tour in a way where you don't have many nights off, because the nights off you're paying, you have no income coming in, you often are traveling with a band, or you're traveling with a DJ, you're traveling with an engineer, different things depending on the package that has been presented. But those nights off are costing. So when you're on your tour, ideally you want to route the tour in a way that's not unreasonable, but that ensures that the revenue is coming in to cover the tour costs, and that's going to take a network. So you want a booking agent that has a network, who knows promoters, who knows venues, and other individual industry professionals who can apprise them of opportunities that can help to make your tour or your spot dates, if you're doing spot dates, a success. Particularly during the festival season, this is crucial. The big festivals work with certain booking agents because those booking agents get them results. So you want one of those booking agents on your team, ideally. Number 4 network. Number 4 is strategy. It's not, you don't want just a passive booking agent. Ideally, you want a booking agent. This is why I say they're part of your team. You want a booking agent that can help you to grow your career, knows how to build your fan base. So if you're doing, who's going to help you, sometimes you may have to go out on a promo tour, meaning the tour is just covering costs. You want a booking agent that can help you to establish your career, grow your career, and this is part of where some of the breakdown happens in reggae and dancehall, because a lot of artists are not willing to do the early sacrifice to build up that brand and to build up that touring route, because part of touring, particularly when you go out, is to introduce yourself into new markets. You may have the hot song in Jamaica, but people in Iowa don't know you. People in this place don't know you. So when they're negotiating with a promoter, they're not going to be able to negotiate top dollar for you, because the promoter knows the market, knows that they don't know you. But they're willing to put you on a show, or to the promoter may have built a reputation in that market where the people trust them. But you can't demand more than the market can accommodate. So you have to be willing to work with the booking agent, again, to have an overall strategy to help you to hit those stepping stones. And this is why it's very crucial that your booking agent thinks in this manner and is not just putting you in positions that may have short-term benefit but long-term are not beneficial for your career. So that is the next crucial step. Number 5 is reputation. So if we look at the Nesbitt situation, maybe there wasn't a vetting. I don't know the parties involved, so I can't speak to what it is. But obviously right now there's a lot of bad blood. Whereas the vetting would be the question that I ask in terms of, does this booking agent have a track record? Were they reliable? Were they trustworthy? These are some of the questions that you have to ask. And so all of these things are very crucial. And again, when you're dealing with a booking agent, you're dealing with contractual work. There should be a contractual agreement between yourself and the booking agent. And then there's going to be contracts again with each of the promoters in different venues. There's a lot of paperwork involved, and this is where your entertainment attorney being on your team is so crucial to make sure that even though the booking agent ideally is supposed to be working in your interests, you want to have your own legal counsel that's working with you and with the booking agent to ensure the contracts are up to snuff. Everything is to a level that's going to ensure that you remove or at a minimum mitigate any potential challenges. So I don't want to keep this too long. Again, this is the Lion Law booking agent. We're going to talk to a few of them on this platform. I have some colleagues in the industry that are very engaged in reggae, dancehall booking. So again, for either Lion Talk, and some of it will transition here on Lion Law, we'll bring in. So I'm not just going to talk to you in the abstract about these topics. The beautiful thing about my network, which I say is my superpower, is that I'm able to bring it here with you. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, because there's a man named Mr. Alga and him have a rhythm. And you see, if we want to grow this channel, which is on the second largest platform, second largest search engine on the internet, if we want to grow Rastafari presence, the legal presence here on the platform, we have to make sure Mr. Alga and him rhythm is satisfied. Meaning, comment, like, share, subscribe, become part of the Lion Pride, because the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. And this is the Lion Voice.
Lion Voice. Yeah, grew up on North Road. Haile Selassie the first. Children. Oh you're gonna do two things when you hear this song. You either gonna move or you gonna leave. You have to move. Either way you gonna bounce. Or you have to wait. You have to bounce. I tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Can't buy my soul for no bank account. I tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Blessings where we got too much they can't count. Would you sell your people poison to make a dime? If you knew that they were dying, would you change your mind? Would you embrace crime? Would you risk life in a cage? Or would you even care as long as you got paid? You never been a slave, still you slave for the cash. If the price was right, you would have sell your ass. Far as I can see, you don't know your past. You just a follow dirty Babylon till Babylon crash. Tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Can't buy my soul for no bank account. I tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Blessings where we got too much they can't count. Tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Work hard for my money, work for large amounts. I tell them bounce, I tell them bounce, tell them bounce. Blessings where we got too much they can't count. Would you put on a dress? Would you put on a blouse? Would you do anything just to move the crowd? Would you take off your clothes? Would you spread out and pose just to get some diamond and some gold? Would you call your people nigger, then ask them to wave? If your people were in trouble, then how would you behave? If the beast came out the cave and started to rage, would you be afraid? Or would you tell them bounce?